Hello everyone, welcome and thanks for joining this webinar organized by Career Guidance Council. So today's webinar, as we mentioned, that today's topic is AWS Fundamental. Last week also I conducted one overview session on this topic, like how to crack AWS certification and cloud getting started. So some details I provided to you. So today's session is kind of extension to our previous discussion, and during the webinar you can put your queries on the chat window. I'll be listening that, and towards the end maybe I'll open up and we can have a like discussion on the things shared with you. So this is just brief overview about NGO. Our NGO, we used to conduct weekly offline and online session like this. Hyderabad also we have advanced skill development center. There also we used to conduct every week session, and school colleges also we used to conduct session. So keep in touch. We have also have our job WhatsApp group, wherein our weekly events detail and some job detail also we used to share with us. We are a group of volunteer more than 100 plus, who just like as a just devote our services. Actually there is no we don't charge anything for this. It is just the service to the country, I would say, for that matter. And yeah, we have lot thing, and we used to organize some big program also with MNC. This is in brief about us. Last week we see what is AWS cloud, benefits of AWS certification, list of AWS certification. This we have seen actually. Basically cloud, AWS used to offer compute, database, storage, and some various like core essential services as a cloud over the internet actually. So we can just purchase those services. We can purchase operating system, database, and storage, and then based on our usage we need to pay the prices. And it is like a complete platform actually. They have a lot of services, but this is just a kind of a overview. So I also discussed like this is kind of a cheat sheet of about AWS core services actually. And you don't need to worry too much. Like I would say some 20% services are the core basic, and there are some specific scenario specific services are there, like AWS compute. When we say, then EC2 is one of the very famous service, elastic cloud compute actually. That is like a virtual machine on the AWS platform, this compute EC2. Lambda is like a serverless function. And from the database side, RDS, relational database service, this is like one of the core service. And based on specific requirement of your database, whether it is NoSQL database, so we have document DB, we have dynamic DB. Means there are a lot of things are there, but generally you need some virtual machine. Generally you need some hosting platform, Lambda. And generally since actually everything work will be working on the AWS network, so there is a like virtual private cloud, this VPC also another concept actually. Means there your services, since it will be like your company resources which will be hosted on the cloud, so there should be like secure connectivity to those resources, right? So for that matter actually this networking services also become very essential component of like while purchasing a particular operating system, while purchasing a particular database service, why purchasing some storage service. Like S3 also you would have seen actually in AWS, that S3, this is like simple storage service. This is also one of the very commonly used service, I would say, in AWS. Other services are kind of like some specific requirement, advanced requirement, I would say. And generally these are the certification overview. Also I'm kind of just giving a brief recap to that also, if someone has joined newly to this thing. Like if you are getting started with the AWS, then it is suggested that you complete AWS cloud practitioner certificate. Okay, this is like a foundational certification. And then you go more advanced. If you are trying targeting the developer role, then AWS developer associate, this certification you should target. If you are looking for some administrator kind of role, then sysops administrator. Administrator means actually this person also know a very good understanding about all this, not all this, like major core services of AWS, and he knows how to like create the EC2 machine, elastic cloud compute. This sysops person know how to create the simple storage service. Basically, he knows how to create the RDS instances. Basically, he knows to play out with the AWS environment basically. So that's what like SysOp administrator. And if you go to further advanced level, then solution architect associate. This certification I am having actually with me. This certification means actually the person knows the core essential services of AWS, and he can read the like business requirement. Means every client used to have some business requirement, right? That I have this requirement, I want the web application to be developed, I want web application to be having these many user, these many instances, I have this domain requirement. So like solution architect, what happen actually, he read the business requirement and he will kind of suggest the like the proper and the best services to that client. He will also draw some architectural diagram for the client that hey, just follow this architecture diagram, use these many services, and I would say you that it is like a best combination I'm suggesting you. He will also give some alternative to the client. That is like a solution architect. So if you are kind of a new to AWS, I would suggest directly go to solution architect certification. If you are totally new, start with cloud practitioner certification. This will like kind of open your door to the AWS. And developer, if you are targeting some developer role, then having listing this developer certificate on your resume, this will also give you a lot of advantage actually. Since actually cloud is like kind of a vast, actually you would also, I would also show you some AWS console today. Means how to create EC2 service on the AWS console means there is a website for AWS. Through that you will follow that website, like for example how to create the simple storage service. Simple storage service, just consider this as a our Google Drive. Actually we used to, when we create our email, right, the Google used to give us some 30 GB limit where we can store our document, right? So similar to that, since organization they want to have a, used to have a huge requirement like terabyte of data, petabyte of data they used to store. So they used to also purchase some kind of online storage drive. So that is like in AWS, that is a known as a S3 service, simple storage service. And likewise, depending on the business requirement, we need to kind of map each of these services. So found cloud practitioner will teach you the basic foundational knowledge for cloud. If you go further advanced, then data analytics, data engineer is also a very common role nowadays in the cloud industry. Solution architect professional, this is also like going from associate to professional. This is very advanced certification. DevOps engineer, if you want to aspire for DevOps engineer. So these certification like will be specific to AWS environment, means to use their services as a DevOps for creating the CI/CD pipeline. So this will like kind of acknowledge your understanding, and clearing certification is not easy. You would need to study a lot. You would need to go the resources. You would need to write some practice exam, and then you would need to schedule your exam on the AWS side. And generally the website like Pearson and some other like education provider, they used to conduct your exam. It used to be proctor based exam. If you pass that, then yes, you will be awarded with certification. And if you put that on your resume, that will also give you a lot of, like, people will respect you, that they will, it is proof that you have the knowledge. Although certification doesn't mean that you will also gain practical thing also, practical knowledge, it doesn't mean that. But for someone like has to do the certification, I would say, in order to gain the foundational knowledge or the basic knowledge to understand and what role in AWS you are targeting. According to that, you would need to go through the certification. It will be like since clearing the certification is also not easy, and people used to respect the certification. Since like I am holding AWS solution architect associate certification, and whenever I write this on my resume, people, company, they used to acknowledge it. Actually they used to appreciate that. And having certification with practical knowledge also, you would see actually when you will enroll in AWS service like website, there are plethora of opportunities, plethora of events also they used to conduct time to time. And those are all free events. Actually they have their own YouTube channel also. And on each of these services, like if you want to read EC2 deep dive, what is EC2 deep dive, we can go to AWS YouTube channel, and there are like like hundreds of videos on EC2 itself. So contents are enough. Only the thing here, I know actually I cannot cover end to end each and everything AWS, but my aim right now is just to help you getting started, help you follow the proper path. And cloud is like very essential nowadays. This also I will tell you that cloud is, even if you are an experienced person having 5 year 10 year, knowing the knowledge of cloud is very very important actually, because a lot of company are moving to the cloud. Why? Because there are a lot of benefits are there. Earlier they used to purchase their own data center, all the hardware, software, everything they need to purchase. Right now they can just go to the cloud and like open the instance of EC2, that compute machine, either Windows, Linux. There are a lot of configuration you can set, and you can just quickly start that, and you can host your website quickly. And you can basically you can set up the load balancing based on, so that based on the number of user, you can increase the number of EC2 machine to handle the load, incoming load actually. So all this thing is like kind of very easy to start something actually, to host something, to like if you are looking for storage, you don't need to worry actually, just purchase S3 simple storage service and store all your content into that. And it is all elastic means essentially there is no limit. It can keep growing. Like there is, you don't need to mention that I want to purchase S3 for 100 GB size. So whatever like you are keeping in the services, how much you are utilizing, based on that you will get the rental bill from the AWS. And that is also like competitive, because AWS, Azure, GCP, these are our cloud provider, and they used to compete with each other, and they used to ensure that the price they also keep it like competitive, not too much high. Otherwise the company, why they will purchase AWS, right? Why they will purchase the AWS services. So uh, with that actually I will share with you some of the information actually. This course, as I mentioned, this webinar is about AWS Fundamentals. So I went through one of the cloud certification of from AWS, that is the AWS Solution Architect Associate. And last year actually I got certification also. Let me just open. So when I cleared this, as you can mention, last year September 11 actually, I completed, and AWS will issue this certification to you. And it used to have some kind of time frame also, that expiration date 3 years is the kind of a validity of this certification. And after this maybe I would need to again appear for this certification in order to be entitled with this one. Likewise actually, if you appear for cloud practitioner and other certification as I mentioned, if you pass the exam, then you will get this kind of and you can just mention this on your LinkedIn also, in your job. And that is people used to mention their these badges on their resume also. So what happened actually, this like through one of the initiative in one of my company actually, as a partner with AWS, they have shared some of the content resources. So basically, since I have some of the content, I thought actually why not to share those with the participant here, and help them with their journey with the cloud, with the AWS. So that is what. And I have just uploaded all this actually, some of the resources on one of my Google Drive. And at the end of the webinar I will be sharing that Google Drive link also with you. So this material means you can access and download that. And with that actually, AWS, with one of my company, I cannot take my company name because it is like a confidential, but like they have shared, AWS has shared some of the partner. These are the portal actually. But this portal means if you enroll into their website, then you will you will have access to some of the AWS learning resources, some videos, some webinars actually. This is one of the portal. But actually you need to register on this with your like corporate email ID. You won't be able to register with the personal like Gmail or Yahoo email ID. I'll be sharing this also with you. So this is kind of a information. You can register with your like corporate email ID. One code will be coming, some 4-digit code, and then you need to enter. And it is all like since my one of my company, they were having association with AWS, so it's like a partner program. and they have shared our with us AWS people the learning resources for AWS Solution Architect Associate certification actually. So that is how it happened. Maybe if some of you are already working in some company, your company also may have some partnership with AWS, because AWS used to have want to have the association with the company, right, in order to promote their services. So means more partnership they have, then more kind of business will eventually will come to them. So that is how this thing is there. I also okay, this is like the partner website which I have the account. I will just yeah, this I have like logged in partner website. This is my corporate email ID. So means here also a lot of learning resources, build, program, founding resources. You would need to basically search that out. This is one of the portal actually. This is like thing, important thing. I'll also be sharing you. Last time also I shared with you that AWS skill builder, right? This is one of the website. So you can note this down also. It is like easy. You can type on Google is AWS skill builder, and basically this is also one of the learning website by the AWS. It has lot of courses, as you can see, AWS technical essential, cloud practitioner. I was talking about that certification, right? So they have already some video 12-hour course on their website actually, and this is like enough. Like AWS cloud concept in AWS, lot of like you will see some courses related to these are some like database DynamoDB is a NoSQL database, cloud essential, and I have enrolled in one of the cloud practitioner course. Okay. So you can also, these are all free actually. You won't be charged for this. Okay. This is asking me to sign into skill builder. You can sign into skill builder with your personal email ID also. Why I'm telling all these resources to you, because like we have a limited time. I may not be able to cover end-to-end AWS all concept, although at the end I will also try to cover some of the essential thing. But you should have access to these resources so that you can just go through your cloud journey and then just access these resources, which is free of cost. And you can see actually like summarize the benefits of AWS. These will also have some videos also, right? Some means this course, if you go through cloud practitioner, this AWS are covering end to end related to what is required for cloud fundamentals. And if you just cover this end to end this journey, and you will be eligible to write means you can just attempt the AWS cloud practitioner certification also after that. So if you clear that is also very good, will be very good for your profile. As you can see AWS organizes, these are all like some core part of AWS which they are kind of covering, and which is part of AWS Cloud Practitioner certification also. So likewise for everything actually, you can search the courses. It is like a complete explorer to you. You can search and then lot of content is already available to you. I also mentioned that as a like person actually, this is like a AWS console actually. Console means there is a that is their website. Here also like AWS create account, like if you just type AWS login, you can create the free account in their like AWS. See, I was talking about some of the event whatever they used to conduct, AWS reinvent. This is also one of the very famous account like event yearly AWS used to conduct, and these are all free actually. Likewise lot of events training also. If you when you will create the account in AWS, they will also ask you whether you want to you are whether you are interested in AWS events, AWS service offering, AWS courses. You can check that, and they'll keep sharing with you a lot of resources in learning AWS. and you can create free account with them. You need to mention your debit or credit account, but for free account you don't need to worry, you won't be charged, and lot of free services will be available to you. Free services means you will be able to create some EC2 instance, elastic cloud, compute cloud, some S3 storage, some limit will be given to you, RDS also. While creating some instances also, you will get to know actually, like this is AWS console. I have my account with my personal email ID, and I have logged into that. And here you can see actually a lot of services. Means for compute, if I just mouse over here, means these are the various services: EC2, virtual server is in the cloud, Lambda, run code without thinking about server. So for you, if you're totally new, maybe yeah, that's what actually you would need to go initially with their content, know the fundamental, know all these services. And as I mentioned, you don't need to know all the services. There are 200 plus services, but every company doesn't need all this. I see some. Okay, maybe question we will take at the end. Right now, let me cover what is the objective of this webinar. So database, like if I click, these are the various services. For that, actually, you would need to first go to the AWS Cloud Practitioner courses, Cloud Fundamental courses. Then you will get to know what is DynamoDB, what this DB, what purpose this database is used for. Relational database, if some of you already coming from computer science background know relational databases like Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle. So means through this service, you can just create the database through this AWS services. So you don't need to worry about the server. While creating the database, you would need to provide the configuration, what database you need, and within fraction of second, your database will be created. And storage means you need some kind of storage. AWS backup, if you want to backup your organization like data, these are like some set of utility job, I would say, which helps you to take a backup on the AWS side. And AWS also will ensure that your backup remains safe within the AWS global region network. And you can also specify which region you want to take the backup. EFS is like, this is another like, you can just think of this as a Windows drive actually. EFS, elastic file store. FSX, this is compatible with Windows. This is EFS is compatible with Linux operating system. S3, as I was telling, suppose S3 you want to create the storage, you will click this service. But first, yes, first you need to learn the concept actually. Means what is AWS, go to the thing. You can create your free account in the AWS. Okay. And then in the free account, you will also have some kind of entitlement to try out with these services actually, so that you can get some kind of some practical exposure also. Also in their video tutorial also, they will be telling you some end-to-end overview of how to create EC2 machine, how to create S3 bucket, how to create relational database server on the AWS. So all the resources, learning, documentation free of cost is available to you. You just need to means getting started with that. And let me first cover some of the basic thing of AWS. Means AWS has shared some of the material with us, like some of the slides. This slide, since I attempted AWS Solution Architect certification, so I have this material. I thought like to just share with you. So let me just try that out. Yes. So this material AWS has created specific to AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate, and this is also doesn't mean that they will have enough like getting started means everything foundational material this certification not having. When you try solution architect associate, mean you have, it is understood means you have some kind of basic knowledge of AWS, and then you are attempting for this certification. So that is what the expectation for this certification. Okay. But it still it has some of the fundamentals, so that's what I thought to share with you. And as you can see actually in this material also they have shared a lot of important link, means overview of AWS. This material I'll be sharing with you also at the end of the webinar. I have uploaded this in my Google Drive and I will give you read access so that you can download all this thing, and means you can just go through and have the self learning by yourself. Overview of AWS services. To this paper, like this link, if you'll go, it has means lot of information. What is AWS? Some videos is also there. Means you need to just click go by each and everything step by step. It has the thing. Let me click on the next link. Design principle. Means lot of thing is there as of now. Right about now, we don't have a time to kind of cover and go through their documentation each and everything. But okay, let me start this again here. So AWS well architected framework. While we do the architecting, there are some set of defined rule that should be followed. How the AWS pricing work, and this Twitch power are, this is also very, I would say, the beneficial link. I'll be sharing all this thing with you. This link means actually this is like some of the video learning resources which AWS Force has put on this website, and this is also free actually. As you can see, these are all like see AWS S3 storage classes. If I open this link, some of the services, if you want to go and learn this thing, okay, this is like while learning what is a simple storage, this S3 service. So these are all, this has the resources for some video as well as some of their documentation actually. This teach, and this Twitch power are actually what happened, this is their website where they used to host their very up to date and certification specific learning resources. And while attempting to the certification, you can go to AWS like website, and AWS cloud practitioner suppose certification, suppose you are targeting, then it will also have the list of curriculum, means what are the module that you would need to cover, that is part of that certification. So that will give you kind of certification scope. You can go through the content, you can go through the video online AWS skill builder, as I mentioned. If you have enough knowledge, then you can attempt some of the practice exam also. uh, Udemy generally used to have some of the practice exam, and generally that practice exam used to come around 300 rupees only. And basically that used to cover the real time, how in the certification the actual similar kind of, I would say, the question will come, and some 5 to 6 practice exam used to be there. If you attempt all those practice exam, and even you can give it again and again those practice exam, if you score more than like 80%, more than 80%, 90%, then you have a very good chance of clearing the certification in the first attempt itself. Because like you will go through all the knowledge, but like exam question will be like, it will be like MCQ kind of question, multiple choice question actually. One question will be there will be multiple choices answer, and generally those answer also will be complicated, and you may find that more than one answer looking good. So that's where actually your knowledge of AWS essential is crucial actually, in order to means mark the right answer for that. So that is how you should plan. uh, AWS global infrastructure, AWS, since it is like a computing resources on the over the internet they are giving to the corporate, so they have a wide region actually throughout the global. So that's where like AWS region means actually. uh, Maybe this, I don't know whether it is really is it, I hope this is appearing clear to you, right? You are able to read that out, or maybe I can increase the font also, this, because this is PDF, I cannot have the kind of a, okay fine, this is better, this is much better. So AWS region means actually once you will buy the like virtual machine EC2 machine on AWS, you also need to select the region, right? Because AWS network is there throughout the world, right? So whether you are from the India, then you will select the Indian region. Means their data center is located, they have 100 plus data center, physical data center. So you should buy, means the AWS services closer to your region. If your client is into USA, generally they select N Virginia region, Ohio region, this region. You can see Canada region, N California, Stockholm, Bahrain, like Saudi Arabia, Sydney, Tokyo, Japan. Everywhere they have a region actually. So this understanding of this region is also important, because uh, and some of the services are also kind of region specific. Means some of the services you will see that it is only available in N Virginia region. So means this knowledge you should be getting while attempting the certification, and also while spending more time on the AWS, and while working in your corporate, in your company also. First thing is you need to identify the region consists of multiple isolated and physically separate availability zone. And as I shared you with you some of the skill builder like learning resources link, they will also give you some initial brief talk on AWS region. What does region means? These are all physical data center, I would say. Multiple isolated physically separate availability zone, means within each region also they used to they used to have separate availability zone. So what does then availability zone means actually? uh, like for example, in Mumbai data center, AWS has a physical data center in Mumbai region. In India also they have into multiple like Delhi, Mumbai, I think in Bangalore also they have. And they used to keep open the data center closer to the country. uh, so within a data center also they used to divide their physical data center into like three availability zone. What does that mean actually? These are also like physically separated thing. Means in case of disaster, for example, if one availability zone is down in a region, then your services will be, AWS will ensure that your services replica is there into another availability zone in the same region, so that even if some physical disaster or something happen, you won't be interrupted with that actually. So within within a region there used to be minimum three availability zone used to be there. So and this availability zone is also kind of a physical separate entity, I would say. Physical data center, it used to be having a huge building wherein the set of networking, computer resources, everything, huge rock used to be available. They used to keep all the physical machine. And when you go to that AWS console which I was showing you, where you like ask for that, I need this EC2 machine with Linux configuration, I need this much RAM, I need this much CPU, I need this much core, this much. So means they give you some virtual machine out of that physical machine. So virtualization also, you would have like heard about this term, virtualization. So means they have the physical entity, some big operating system, big system they have. And there these machine used to be like on rented. With virtualization they used to give it based on how much capacity you are asking actually. And while creating the virtual machine also, you can tell that, hey, I want to have my virtual machine in this region, in this availability zone, and this much network infrastructure I want to have. So everything like you can configure while creating that service. But since you are working on AWS, these essential knowledge also you would need to have. Otherwise you won't be able to go to AWS website and like use the proper configuration for your services. And similarly in corporate also, we used to have play, I would say, with huge project with the client. And huge cloud resources we used to create. And these used to be like cost optimized for the client also. These resources used to get spin up fast for the client. That's why the need of cloud, I would say, has been increasing day in day out. And availability zones, as I mentioned, these are all physical data center. As I see, like this is one of the region, AP Southeast 1 in the AWS global network. This is like one availability zone, data center 1, data center 2, data center 3. So knowledge of this is required when you will be creating the EC2 machine, and they will ask you where you want to create, which region you want to create, which availability zone you want to create, and some more information about availability zone can be seen here. Point of presence, along with AWS global region, they have a 310 plus point of center present and 13 regional edge location. This is also kind of some in order to provide you the robust network from the AWS for you. Point of presence are actually smaller endpoint used for hosting cached frequently accessed data. Means actually if you are hosting some of the website, for example in EC2 machine, Elastic Cloud Compute, and suppose your user base is, for example, say uh, 1 million user, 10 lakhs of users are there, so means it's a huge website, right? You need some multiple EC2 instances, you need some kind of load balancer, you need some kind of caching, right? Frequently accessed data. So some of you, we use Facebook, right? Have you seen any like delay in browsing some of the videos, some of the resources in LinkedIn? Why? Because it's all cached. Means those resources they are putting into some cached version actually. Means it won't hit to the server, it is already cached into point of presence, this kind of thing. AWS also has a service called CDN, cloud CDN service actually, that is like provide the caching services to the static content of your website. Static content means if some of the videos are there, it can be cached, right? Means Facebook knows that this video belong to, for example, India region, India people, and this video popularity is kind of increasing. Means more number of hit likes are coming to this video. They won't cache each and everything, they will cache specific thing also. For that they have a separate algorithm routing mechanism, what to be cached, to what region it should be cached, what is the like the what is like why, so they have a complete thing. So AWS also, and this 310, I wouldn't say that this is the latest one. AWS, they used to keep enhancing, they used to keep extending their global worldwide network. They used to keep adding more like availability zone. They used to keep adding more point of presence, caching layer, CDN layer, and this updated layer you can go through their website and you will get to know. And since while selecting the for a particular client, you need to decide the region also. So AWS website you can go and select out the best region. Because what happened actually, the if you are, for example, hosting the website and you are from the Mumbai region, India region, and you are selecting, for example, N Virginia region, means that is wrong, right? What happened actually, because the network data has to travel through the IP protocol, through the internet, right? So if you are hosting your website into N Virginia, means from this distance the network packet will flow, your user are there into Mumbai region, means the latency will come, right? Latency means the website browsing speed will get slowed down, right? So that should be, if your user are mostly from the Mumbai region, just host your website onto Mumbai AWS region and the availability zone closer to that, so that network packet which used to flow out in order to deliver the content actually, so that will be like quicker. So all this thing like uh, is like are the related terms. IAM policy means identity and access management. These are also related to some of the fundamental concept of AWS. Since means you will be creating your account in AWS, you will be adding some of the resources, some of the like people with the role say admin. Some of them will be administrator. Some of them will be like content review. Some of them will be, you will be giving some people with the review role, means they will be able to access to the access to the cloud resources what you have created, but they won't be able to create the resources by themselves. Because organization need all this kind of identity and access management and control to their AWS account. They will give cloud like billing role to some people only, some senior folks in the organization only. And if you are a developer, maybe they will give you read write access both. Maybe they may not give you write access, they will only give you read access. If you are from the DevOps, you need to create AWS resources, to you only they will give you write access, so that with the AWS console, there used to be some scripts used to be there, like Terraform, means some automation people used to do, because every time they won't go to AWS like console their website and to create EC2 machine each and every time, right? They need some kind of automation, they need some kind of template. So Terraform is one of the leading, I would say, scripting, uh, declarative language through it, and it's a cloud agnostic. Cloud agnostic means with that you can create the resources for AWS, for Azure, for Google Cloud. There are some like uh, rules you need to follow, actually some scripting Terraform knowledge you need to use, and generally the DevOps people used to use. So this IAM means actually identity and access management. When you will be creating the account in AWS, so these kind of policy used to come actually, like SID, effect, action, resources, condition. But initially actually if you are starting with AWS like cloud practitioner, you may not be required to go in such a deep level I would say. But you will, when you will be going to higher thing for DevOps, for solution architect, understanding this IAM role policies also is essential for your role, because if you are setting up the AWS account, you would need to control to which user, to which group you are giving what permission. So that's how like it is important. IAM policy are the bedrock with strong IAM security, because you need security, right? Understanding how the policies work and being able to interpret them is critical for the success as an architect, and also as the exam. Mean this is one of the policy actually that effect allow. These are all some of the statement, like version means which version. This generally we don't modify. Statement, allow, principle, which principle. These are like Azure, I would say, some of the resources link are there. Action, these are like S3 if you are creating simple storage, simple storage object, that service actually, that object storage service. Then S3 resources, which resources are allowed. You can mention star means to that resources, uh, what all can be accessed. I know actually initially it may be looking a little bit advanced to you, but this is just kind of an overview. For cloud practitioner examination also this may not be required in deep level. If you go to solution architect and professional level, DevOps level, at that time these policies and everything, you would also need to go some of the skill builder courses for IAM policies. Then you will get like more information, and it will be like easier only. These are all like declarative languages, I would say. um, Resource name, Azure resource name. This, since you will be creating a lot of resources in Azure, in AWS actually. So with ARN means each and every resources will be given some kind of unique name. Okay, we require ARN when you need to specify resource unambiguously across all AWS, such as an IAM policies, Amazon relational database, tags, API calls. So with this like ARN, Azure Amazon resource name, with that your resources can be identified uniquely. Means ARN, Azure Amazon resource name, service, which region you are creating the service. When you create the account for your organization or your personal, you used to get some kind of account ID actually. So that account ID, to which region you are creating the resources, what is the resource type. Means resource type will be either S3, EC2, RDS. Those are the like AWS resources, right? So means with that, whenever you will be creating, you will have ARN, that Amazon resource name. Through that, your resources will be uniquely identified, and this is also kind of a ARN name only. This you can consider that this is the ARN name of, for example, simple storage service S3. To that ARN you are telling that action, resources, what is like permissible action for that ARN. And these policies you will be creating, you this policy is action, and you will be assigning this policy to some group. To group you will be adding some user, and whoever user are part of that group and whoever have entitled to that policy, according to that they will have access to that particular AWS resources actually. So that is how like organization used to restrict the access to the AWS resources in a corporate. Simple token, this also I would say a little bit advanced. Whenever you will be accessing your AWS services, AWS will be checking your role, what role you have, based on the policy, which group you are part of, whether you have access to whether you have access to like access a particular EC2 machine or not. Based on that, some token will be generated and you will be granted a role. So means AWS also internally behind the scenes, you may not be knowing, it is handling all the very strong security token services generation, so that only the right person has the right, I would say, the access. uh, that is how they are maintaining actually. Your company may be giving you some temporary credential. So since security is very critical for corporate actually, so AWS has lot such kind of thing. AWS, there's Amazon resource name, unique name, policies they used to create, group, lot of thing actually. When you will have the deep dive of these things through the specific videos tutorial, you will get to know all these things. AWS S3, since I told that this is one of the basic fundamental services which the company use actually, because company generally need some kind of storage, right, in order to store their files, in order to store their resources, content on the AWS. So simple storage services. So when you like, you can see that store object in resources called bucket. So when you create the simple storage service, so they have a terminology called bucket. You create the AWS bucket which can be up to 5 terabyte in size, but there are no limit to the object, means number of object, whatever file you are storing, there are no limit to that. And they have a terminology called bucket, designed to provide 99.99% durability and availability. This 99.999999, this also has a meaning actually. Means you will be creating the AWS S3 bucket in a particular region, in a particular availability zone in AWS, as I mentioned. And AWS guarantee you that you will have the high availability. Durability means if one availability goes down, they used to means keep a replica of your object in 3 availability zone by default. Likewise in this diagram, means region used to consist of multiple availability zones. Every region will have minimum 3 availability zone. So whenever you will be creating the S3 bucket, for example, on this region, this availability zone is AP South Asia 1A. Okay, this is one of the availability zone. So AWS will replicate this bucket automatically, and you won't be knowing that, to other availability zone in the same region. Means if one AZ is down, so your data is secured and AWS will provide you. Apart from that, you can replicate your data or the object whatever you are creating in the AWS into multiple region also. And this is like if you want to have more higher availability actually, means you can have your primary replica of your application into this region AP Southeast 1, and the secondary into AP Southeast 2. Likewise, your cloud strategy used to be decided, means if complete region is down, although it doesn't used to be down, it is like very rare thing that AWS region will be down. But just in case, if that is also happen, your exact replica of your application will be available in the secondary region, so that you will have the uninterrupted like consumption of your resources. So why I was telling all this thing is because whenever they mention that I will provide you, for example, 99 for these 9 availability, means I will guarantee you that within a year, 365 days, uh, there is a formula, there is a table you can refer in the AWS side, that I will guarantee you that maximum like more than 364 days, and this 99 mean actually uh, few hours only. We cannot guarantee you, because nobody will give you 100% guarantee that 100% every time your website will be up or storage service will be up. Means in case of disaster, AWS also needs some kind of time in order to like switch over the secondary replica for you to have that effect. if the primary availability goes down, in order to have the service accessibility to you, means there can be like 1 hour 2 hour down within a whole year. That is like very very minimum that guarantee AWS is giving to you. And generally this availability used to be in the 99, and every 9 used to have a meaning actually. There is one table right now, I don't have that handy, but you can refer that. And generally when the company decide like which AWS service I am opting for, how much availability that service is AWS is giving to me, they used to also come to this table. Because for corporate cloud this availability is huge importance actually. For example, we used to access for example say Amazon website actually for purchasing some of the product. We never have seen that AWS that Amazon website is down, right? It is like a more than 99.99% availability, because they used to replicate their have into secondary region. They used to decide their cloud strategy accordingly, that website will be up 100% of the time, because if it is down means it will be the huge thing for the Amazon. Google also you would have not seen that it is down. So in S3 also, when you will be learning which bucket tier you are creating, that also kind of significant thing. Yes, yes, I will send all this thing to you, this soft copy. Or since we are kind of closing towards the end also, maybe next week also if you people are interested, I can take the next version of this slide class also. So these are all based on your interest actually. We can extend these classes also, but my objective with this, as I mentioned, is to inspire you to start with the AWS. Courses are there, you don't worry, all the resources are also free. And this certification also will not, will be a few thousand rupees only. And if you are working in cloud, they will reimburse, they will give you free voucher also. Okay, let me just, why this message is coming my headset, just 1 second. This message is coming on the top of my screen, so I'm just, I hope this is visible to you, my screen visible to you. Actually there is like access tier, Amazon S3 intelligent tiering. I hope my screen is clearly visible to you, right? Next webinar we will be publishing on our group actually, job WhatsApp group. If you are not on our group, I will be sharing the WhatsApp group link also with you. You can join our group. And means actually this S3 service also, depending upon what is your storage requirement, there is a intelligent tiering. This is one of the tiering layer. Frequent access tier means you are frequent infrequent access tier, archive tier, deep archive tier, data access tier. So this tier also used to have some meaning. Means for example, you are keeping your data into Amazon simple storage service. Based on this tier, the pricing will be applied to you. Means suppose you don't have that much frequent access, you are kind of just storing 100 GB of data, then while creating the simple storage service you should opt for infrequent access tier. So what will be the benefit? Means Amazon AWS will charge you less for that. If you are like having some website and you are storing some of the like static data or some of the related data, generally static data also, lot of time people used to like corporate used to store onto Amazon S3 layer, then you should like opt for frequent access tier, because that object whatever you are storing into S3 bucket, that should be frequently accessed to your website, right? So generally the frequent access tier will be charged more. And some of the what happened actually, company also used to put some of the like backup data, those are like very infrequently used, so they used to opt for archive access tier. So benefit of this is like this is like will be charged less to the company actually. Deep archive tier means this will be charged very very less to the company, but there is a trade off. If you are like opting for frequent access tier, although the charge will be high, but AWS will guarantee you that the retrieval of the object from frequent access tier will be in the millisecond or in the microsecond. Means it will be like very very quick to retrieve the object from the bucket. In case of infrequent access tier, the charge will be less, but it will be like the delay latency will be like uh, latency also I would say it is similar to frequent only, but the charge will be less. But based on the number of access you will be getting to that particular resources, means some dynamic charging also based on the further usage of the thing, based on how much you use. Based on that the charge and access will be faster. In case of archive, there will be like some delay in order to fetch the object from AWS, that S3 bucket from you, but the charge will be very very less to you. And like it may be like they will tell you that, and they have a complete chart, means to which bucket how much like latency or the delay will come. Maybe in access tier it may take some like 1 minute or something in order to retrieve the thing. In case of deep archive, this will be like very very less charge to you, but in order to retrieve your suppose 100 GB of data from, this is like archive tier, some of the backup company used to keep lot of data, some old historical data for the compliance purposes actually, and they don't need some frequently like to be have accessibility to that data. So that's why they will choose a deep archive access tier for that. So that's all like the meaning of this thing. Storage classes, right? Intelligent. And in the like solution architect exam, what happened actually, you need to know the meaning of all this tier, and they will give you some question that, and they will ask you what is the tier, which tier you will opt for this particular scenario actually. So that's why the meaning of this tier, which tier you will use for what scenario, that is important for you. Okay. And even it will go see S3 intelligent tiering, S3 standard they have, infrared and access. Glacier is for archive data, Glacier deep archive, this is again for archive data. One zone, as I mentioned actually, you when you store your data into AWS, by default they will replicate into 3 availability zone within a region. But if you don't want to replicate into multiple availability zone, then you can even offer one zone, means your data will be there in one zone only. And for example, in case that data center goes down, means you will lose your data actually. But the trade-off is that you will be charged less, means you are storing some of the data which is less critical to you, you want some frequent access, but it's okay to you if you don't want that much high availability. And if that data is gone, you are okay to lose that data also. Outpost, so see the meaning and everything has been mentioned. What this data, see active frequently accessed data, see infrequent access, what does this mean? Glacier, uh, this in minutes and hours. Retrieval I mentioned, right? Although the pricing will be less in Glacier, but AWS tell that if you access the data from the Glacier, it will take from minute to hours. If you access from Glacier deep archive, it will be like in terms of hours, but the charge will be very very student. So company used to decide which access tier they will access, put your data. Elastic compute, okay. I would say that today let me just finish with S3 only. Okay, I have put all this content, this some of the resources, this slide also, we can go through this. And what I will do is I will just keep share this with you, copy link, so that you will be able to access these resources actually. This link you will have the read only access to this. This is my drive link. Okay, you all have access to that right now. uh, all this like this folder I have given you access. This ppts, skill builder, how to create the registration, some of the path, quizzes also when I attempted the AWS Solution Architect Associate certification. Some of the quizzes, means questions, some sample question also you will have access. Right now what I will do, actually I will try to create some simple storage service which we have gone through, like some of the, like first one service I would say we have today have gone through. So let me go to like my AWS account. This is, these are like AWS cloud practitioner. I had opened in one of the console. I'm just seeing where my account. Okay, yeah, this is my account actually where I have logged in, and these are all free actually for 1 year to you. You see, I am kind of just seeing different services, compute, S3, like since we have seen S3 storage service how to create. So right now I'll tell you how to create simple storage, that bucket in the AWS cloud. So I am just clicking on this. So you will get option create bucket, and it will ask you what is the bucket name. For example, let me give my name, and this bucket name is kind of global actually. This should be unique. Means this bucket, as I shared you one of the Google Drive link, right? That is also you can consider it as a kind of a Google storage, object storage. They have different name for that, but in AWS you like kind of create the drive, then simple storage service is there. ACL enable, ACL disable. These are also like different terms, can be owned by other AWS account. Access to this bucket and its object can be specified using ACL. This I would also see related to the like AWS security permission, means if this bucket should be enabled for some other account or not. If you have the requirement, you can enable right now. Since we are creating the basic bucket, so I'm going with the default option ACL disable recommended, and then block all public access. You want to block public access or not? So means these are all security level AWS is given to you. Suppose right now I want to make it like public, I don't want to keep it like block public access, then they have different option, block public bucket through new ACL list. Let me just block only. I will tell you we can enable some of the public access to enable individual. Versioning means you are suppose storing some object in your bucket, you are overwriting that, means new version you are kind of entering again. So whether you want to preserve the previous version or not, if you enable the version, AWS will enable the versioning. So depending upon each and every option, wherever you create the AWS option, you will be like charged accordingly. If you don't opt for versioning, means you will have less charge, right? Versioning means actually AWS has to create the multiple copy of your document, right? Encryption, this is again related to security encryption, whether you want to have the encryption means your object data is encrypted, whether the data packet will be floated over the internet. The data won't, no one can decrypt that data. Only to the person you are giving that, only that will be able to see that data. You want to have server side encryption, you want to have client side encryption, but these are also like when you will have AWS cloud practitioner, like advanced level, you will go to AWS, you will know the each and detail of each and everything. So that's what actually when we say that the AWS cloud role I am looking for, that's what company expect you, that you know all these terms and technologies, right? That's why they are hiring you for AWS sysadmin role, AWS DevOps role, because you as a person you know all these terms and technology, because there are so many terms are there which a beginner doesn't know all these things, right? Advanced settings are also there. Whether you want to locking means actually you want to preserve your data for accidental deletion, actually for compliance reason. Because right for company you are creating a bucket, you are putting your essential data, somebody accidentally deleted that, it's a huge loss for you, right? You don't want that to happen. So you will have lock. Even so, with that I'm just creating the bucket. Okay, I'm just clicking on, I am not. So with this my bucket shoaib 123 has been created, and let me upload some of the content from my system. So this is like, just understand, this is one bucket. I can add some file, for example this slide only. Let me just upload to this. Okay, this PDF, as you can see, I have uploaded into my bucket. Then the option will come, destination detail, lot of thing, encryption, permission, what permission you ought to have, properties. I am just saying upload. Okay, so my file into AWS S3 simple storage service has been uploaded. Let me go. This is my bucket. Even see right now also, if I just search S3, so see, also I didn't pay much attention. I should have created my bucket into some other region. From here you can search AWS region also. Okay, I should have selected some India region actually, but that was like a mistake from my side. So this, whatever the region is selected, your like resources will be created into that region. But let me tell you one more thing. Some of the AWS services are like global services are there. Some of the services like region specific services. So even if I tell search S3 right now, and then so see my bucket, whatever I have created, show 123, it is showing up here. And in my bucket, one this PDF file I have stored, so this is also getting listed here. And let me just try to see, this is a lot of permission properties, also block public access. Let me just say right now actually that don't block public access. I'll give you this URL with you, so that you will be able to confirm. So confirm, you will be able to access uh, the thing stored in this. Since this is like a publicly available like thing right now, what is the URI for this? This is a through this HTTP URL means you will be able to access the, oh, access denied. Why it is saying access denied? Let me see some more access related to this. Go to permission, grant base, versioning. I have not enabled that, so it is not showing that up. I am going to again to my bucket. I'm just seeing all different properties actually. So what, that's what actually, when you'll be learning one particular service, S3 service, you will have like all the knowledge required basically for this service, how to create that up. Default encryption, permission, block all public access. I have set this to false. Let me click on edit also. This also I am fine. We are also already seen. Right now what I'm trying to do is to go through all the properties. Bucket size, so means this will also give you how many objects are there in your management. I have told you that there are different access tiers are there, right? So when you will be creating your bucket and storing the object, by default it will go to the frequent access tier actually. And there will be like some grace time, like after 30 days only you can move it to glacier, deep archive, those access tier. So through the life cycle rule, means you can create the rule, means after this limit, move the object to from this tier to another tier. Why you are doing this is like to save the cost. Access point. Let me go again to the object, URL. Let me go to the permission section here. Okay, I will check that up. But this is like with this, I want to give you a basic overview. Maybe some permission here and there I'm missing because of that. Otherwise, what happen actually if I'm making it public, since this is the HTTP URL, if I wanted to like share this URL with you in this webinar, that's what purpose. I was just seeing all the condition, but looks like still I'm missing some permission. That's why it is like private right now. So I hope like I was able to give you some kind of overview with this today. Let me know your feedback, and if you have some question, that also I will stop the recording.